Subaru Baja. Who's laughing now?
Here's a Baja, not an Outback. There's no car that it can outbrat.
Welcome, friends. Let's get on our knees and pray to the patron saint of cautious optimism, because we finally got our hands on a North American Ute. 2003 Subaru Baja for middle-aged rockers whose band is named ASL. Welcome to the manifest destiny of the male ego, expanding ever westward in a swell of testosterone-injected populism. Because the Outback sold like hotcakes. So let's make one of those, but weld onto it Australian styling and Japanese engineering for a mostly North American audience. A Baja is the automotive version of a rabbi, a priest, and a minister walk into a bar joke. Why does this exist? Who was it even for? And now it's worth more used than any number of more objectively aesthetically pleasing cars of the same vintage. I remember when Maddox, the best page in the universe, said that this was one of the most ugly cars ever made when it was new. And he wasn't wrong. All it is a Subaru Outback with the back cargo area cut off and one less seat. Yeah, there's no middle seat in the back. In its place is a center console. Now, these seats that are in the bed here are from a Brat. They are just here as a tribute to the original Subaru Ute. They never, the Bajas never came with seats in the back. Steve, the owner, just got some Brat seats and put them in here for the show. They're not bolted down. There's just like carabiners attached to the seats and attached to the cargo loop. So no, you can't ride in the back in these. Subaru presented this as a multiple-choice vehicle, just like the Joker's past. You could have either the standard 2.5 EJ25-1 engine or EJ25-3 engines, or the more athletic turbocharged EJ25-5 engine. You don't really have to worry about all this stuff when we talk about the EJ series of engines. The EJ series of engines are primarily for the North American market. They're the ones that blow head gaskets every 100,000 miles. The turbo ones do it less, but there's still a possibility. Subaru has this thing where they will change iterations of engines mid-production run. Justin Kramer from the YouTube channel Fuel Injection Sucks bought a second-gen Forester, just like mine, and it had a different series of EJ engine than my EJ25-1. And stuff is in like different places on the engine. It's Subaru, just get past it. And the EJ series of engines just kept changing over the years. All you really need to know is that the EJ25 either came in naturally aspirated, which was most of their cars during the 2000s, or the EJ25 Turbo, which was found in the Legacy GT, Subaru Baja, Turbo, Forester XT, that sort of thing. And you could either have these with the 4-speed automatic or the 5-speed manual. Subaru Baja, sponsored by anyone who has the confidence to recognize I wouldn't know, sorry, is a fair response to a question you generally don't know the answer to. Subaru Baja is an all-wheel drive 4-door coupe utility? Coupe, at least according to whoever wrote the Wikipedia entry. But doesn't a coupe only have 2 doors? The definition of a coupe utility is, it says it's a vehicle with a passenger compartment at the front and an integrated cargo tray at the rear, with the front of the cargo bed doubling as the rear of the passenger compartment. So whatever, I guess the English language continues to evolve. Production began on July 18, 2002, utilizing the same platform and materials as the Legacy Outback wagon, with a name derived from the Mexican peninsula that hosts the annual Baja 1000 off-road race. The car was then built with tech support from Japan at Subaru's Indiana factory in Lafayette. Normally, Utes are synonymous with Australia and New Zealand in the same way the song White Rabbit means it's 1967 and you're on acid, or Fortunate Son means it's 1967 and you're in Vietnam, or a jump scare T-bone car crash in mid-conversation means you're in a poorly written film. The funny thing is, this Ute was never brought to New Zealand or Australia. I remember when Bryce and Juliet, my friends from New Zealand, they were visiting Pennsylvania and they saw a Baja driving by and they were confused. Bryce, who is a contractor on the North Island, said something to the effect of, "That doesn't look useful at all." And he's right. The Baja's bed is a non-standard size. It won't hold sheetrock or drywall flat, and it's too small for a riding mower. The license plate is attached to the liftgate, so if the liftgate breaks off, you ride dirty. Oh, but look, you can fold the plate down on little hinges. Great, those can break too. And that's the real criticism of the Baja's utility. Your cargo is going to rip up the plastic bed and the molded taillights, all the while the exhaust is shooting at your legs while you're trying to load stuff in. And the rear window of the now cab doesn't roll down. And furthermore, the Baja doesn't have a bigger load max weight than any of the other legacy platforms. So who's this car for? I guess it's for someone who doesn't want to get the back of their 2003 Outback wagon dirty with antiquing. Piles of rusty tools from Grandpa War Crimes' woodshed, clogged submersible pumps, blunt wood planes, cigar boxes full of dull hacksaw blades, empty liquor bottles which now hold birdshot, unflexible garage door springs peppered with mouse droppings. But the problem is, no one with an Outback has ever had a problem getting their interior dirty. The leader of the Baja team, a man by the name of Peter Ten, noted that the Baja is supposed to look funny, look different. It doesn't fit any category, and we knew that going in. It's not like anything else on the road, and that's important to a lot of people. But is it though? Having a company man promoting a car as something you should like simply because it's not like anything else on the road is more of a red flag than a filmmaker on a press tour saying, "We made this movie for the fans." They're hedging the bets on something they know is going to be divisive. It's like a guy wrecking on a snowboard and then saying, "I meant to do that." The MSRP on a Baja during its production years was $23,000 to $28,000 USD, according to an Auto Trader article from 2016 titled, "The Subaru Baja is holding its value ridiculously well." It was written by some guy named Doug DeMuro. Doesn't appear to write for them anymore, but he's talented. I hope he found success somewhere. What's crazy about these listings is it's not even like Bajas are pristine. Many have over 100,000 miles or more, and have clearly seen better days from an operational standpoint. And yet, according to Doug's article, the most expensive Baja listed at the time was a 2005 Turbo, which went for, not joking, $19,999. Granted, it only had 25,000 miles on it when it went up for sale, but still, that's 2/3 market price for a car which, by that point, was a decade past discontinuation. The Baja is the king of the cult comeback. It underperformed in its own era, but found a new life in the decade that followed. It's like the Big Lebowski and Boondock Saints bung in a factory in New South Wales and then adopted a baby from America. And this car has caught on in an almost meme-like level, to the point where people who might have shown ironic interest in this car suddenly love them without any more hint of actual irony than Alanis Morissette. Subaru Baja, the impact font of cars. Subaru's initial plan was to produce roughly 24,000 units per year at the Lafayette, Indiana factory, but the price point didn't justify what you got with a Baja. On the one hand, you could argue it was more nimble than an Outback, and it handled better than a Brat, but who was crying for Utes to make their way stateside in 2002? Their plan for 24,000 units per year ended with them selling only 30,000 units over the course of 4 years, and that's bad by any standard. But it wasn't entirely the fault of the car's engineering quality. In short, Subaru didn't promote this thing nearly as aggressively as they should. I guess they figured the demand would just be there, and the car would sell itself in the same way the Outback did. This 2003 Baja participated in the Gambler 500 rally. And these are the modifications: Air Snorkel, Wrangler Bash bumper with toe loops, bumper light bar, roof light bar, bash bar light pods with turn signal inserts, a 2-inch lift by Anderson Design and Fabrication, King Springs coils, primitive racing skid plates for the rear diff and other hanging fruit, and a stop sign for a bash guard, 15-inch KMC wheels, 75 series BF Goodwrench K02 TA tires, an OEM hood bug guard, and mud flaps. The Gambler 500 is like Lemon's Rally, but mostly off-road. The Lemon's Rally goes to local oddities and tourist traps, while the Gambler 500 goes to GPS waypoints way out in the forest. And in that environment, this Baja starts to make sense. The bed could hold spare tires and wheels, one of those huge jacks that Jeep guys keep on their hoods, and spare gas cans. Gas cans, okay. That's one thing that the bed's useful. Gas cans you don't want inside the car at all. But not many people do this level of modifications to a Baja. Most people just keep them stock and drive them around with big smiles. And explaining why the Subaru Baja is popular in 2019 generates a more pained and confused expression than what appeared on your teacher's face when you asked them to, what is real irony, and can you explain it for us? Well, it's complicated. This Baja drives no different than a regular Legacy Outback. Even lifted with its big tires, still steers the same. And from the front seat, you don't really know you're driving a Ute. The NA EJ25 still hugga-chuggas like it does in any other applications. But the car community did for the Subaru Baja what High Fidelity did for Suspect Device by Stiff Little Fingers. Cult things only become popular if they arrive on failure's muddy back roads. The Baja was a poorly market-tested vehicle made by a company during their most conservative decade. In the 2000s, all Subaru did was stick by their EJ25 series engine, choke up on the bat, introduce the WRX, only swing at good pitches, and get on base like Moneyball. Pop! Get on base. Here's a second-gen Forester. Looks just like the first-gen Forester. Pop, get on base. Build the brand, don't do anything. Pop, get on base. We're quirky, but consistent quirky. We're not trying to look like Toyotas. Pop, get on base. That comes later. And it was working. That process was working. Subaru was gaining assets. They're doing great. And for 1 second, for one God-loving second, Subaru lost focus and farted in church. Baja. And right then, people started scoffing and shunning Subaru. It was horrible. It was embarrassing. But as the years moved on, that moment became legend. People want to have worth and be recognized for having worth and value. And few recognitions are as cathartic as appreciating value from the past. Kurt Vonnegut said you can make a living telling the man-in-a-hole stories. That terrible thing that happened wasn't so bad now that it's over and you're worth something again. You got out of the bad thing. And people like you now. And now for $8,000 to $10,000, you can have something of great worth that no one saw when it was young. That means you have worth that no one saw when you were young. Who's laughing now?
So you can buy some car, drive it forever till it falls apart. Purchase a Baja for a wicked sum. It's not dumb. They hold tons of value forever. I don't know how much.